All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We got Atif here. It's really, really good to be here with you today, Atif. I mean, the market is incredibly exciting right now. And, I just wanted to bring you on because I thought that you had a fairly unique story. My good friend Ivan told me about you, and, you guys all know Ivan on tech. And it's been a while since I made a video. And so I just figured I just start, before I was making videos on just research on projects, but now, I want to start interviewing other founders and kind of hear their stories. So, because one of the things I want to do is inspire people to get involved in crypto, and this is the most exciting, fun industry, in my opinion, that you could be in on the planet. Every day, I'm working for like 16, 17 hours a day, but it feels like that because I'm having so much fun doing it. And it's exciting. So yeah, thank you for being here with me today. And if you could just do a bit of introduction about yourself and kind of how you got into crypto and Bitcoin.
Yeah, thanks for the invite, and thanks to Ivan for connecting us up. Likewise, I watched some of your videos, and it's first thing that came to my mind was, I think we should just have a conversation, and then we should record that conversation, and it can probably be quite interesting because we have some similarities, a lot of interest in Bitcoin, and then the other things that we're doing. But yeah, my background, I mean, I got some, my friend started telling me about Bitcoin like in 2016, and towards the end of it, he was still kind of nagging me. Every few months he would ring me up again, and I was like, oh, I don't really get it. It doesn't make sense to me. How can a computer generate money, right? And I used to kind of fob him off, and then he was persistent with me. And then kind of, early in the 17, I started to study, and just one day, the pin just dropped, right? It's just like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is amazing. Like, and then I couldn't get my head out of it. So straight away, I kind of, figure I got onto like Bitstamp. I think at that time, Bitcoin was like, I don't know, $500 or something. It was, and I thought that was all this expensive, and I was looking. I'm not really a trader or anything like that, so it's more just to buy it. And then I found out, how the mining works, and I had an office which was empty with a free electric supply. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get some of these machines. I stuck them into the office, start mining Bitcoin.
Sorry, how many machines did you have?
At the beginning, I only had like, I think 20, 30, those ant miners, but it was noisy, it was hot in the office, and it was fun.
After the first month, did your landlord come knocking on your door and be like?
The office was quite strategically located with a lot of ventilation, so they kind of never really came to that part. It's quite a big building, but it's an old building, and the ant miners they were noisy, right? I found out about Ethereum, and I started moving into the GPU stuff, and that was a lot more quiet. So having the GPUs running, so I start building rigs. Funny enough, yesterday somebody sent me a message and said, oh, hey, I heard about what you're doing these days, and you helped me set up my first Ethereum mining rig 3 years ago. And I was like, who's this guy? It's just a small world. I must have had some connection via somebody, and I went around this guy's house and helped him kind of set up his first rig. So yeah, and then from that, I kind of went into looking at altcoins and looking at, so it's the natural progression of, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then alts. And from the alts, I started looking at other projects, and I said, it'd be really good to support a project and help them and get really stuck in just from my business side. And I love kind of startups. For me, I always thrive on the early progress of a project. Once it's kind of steady and it's established and it's kind of succeeded in what it's supposed to do, it's not as interesting for me. So I really thrive at the beginning, early stage of the growth. So I found this project out in Silicon Valley. I got involved with them, and that was kind of like, took me through 17 into 18. And then after that, I was just kind of on the famous crypto circuit, one event after the other, Consensus, Bitcoin Miami, Token 2049, every, Korea, I was just going everywhere, and I was enjoying it so much. It was not like work. And then I connected up with some of the guys at Ethereum. They wanted some help with a paper that we published for growth in the Middle East. And then after that, I mean, it was a bit of a quiet time. Everybody was a bit pessimistic. Bear market. Is Bitcoin going to make it? Are we going to come back again? But I always kind of just had hope, and I thought, you know what, we can make it. I had a few other businesses on the side that kept me going. For me, like, the halving was a big deal. It was like, post this halving, either something really bad happens, right? Because it was my first halving anyway, or we really kind of like establish the whole model, and we move forward. And that's what really I think has happened, right? Post halving, here we are today, and I'm speaking to you, and Bitcoin's at what, 36, 37,000.
I think it's at 38,300 or something.
It's just like, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So what about yourself?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been around for a long time. I discovered Bitcoin in 2012. It was intriguing that someone told me about Silk Road, and I was like, holy shit!
Okay.
Like, I can just go up there and buy weed online, and I'm like, and everyone can see this. This is like you mean like the police and FBI can see this, but like I can just go do it with this thing called Bitcoin. Like, I wasn't so fascinated so much with Bitcoin at the time as I was the dark web, and just like, wow, this is amazing that this whole ecosystem exists. So like, yeah, I got some Bitcoin in 2012, but it wasn't like I was fascinated by Bitcoin so much as what everything was. It wasn't until 2013 when WikiLeaks fiasco happened, and Julian Assange was being like, he was leaking documents about the American government, and that was really embarrassing for them, and so they were a nonprofit and ran off of donations. So the powers that be, really threatened all the payment rails, like PayPal and Visa, MasterCard, banks, to say, hey, don't allow money to be sent to Julian anymore. And someone's like, try Bitcoin, and then money came in, and he was able to operate again. And that was, the light bulb went on for me on that. I won't get into my whole like story from 2012 until today, but I'll really more relate to some of the things that you said, like when you talk about keep nagging somebody. And I think for those of us who have been in this space, and if you're just watching this and you haven't really got in yet, and once you get hooked by like that Bitcoin bug, you have to tell everybody that because once that that's where it's going.
Yeah.
And you see all these no coiners around, and you're like, yo, don't miss out on this. Like, I care about you. I care about you, so don't miss out on this, And I started building my Bitcoin-based lottery in 2013, World Super Lotto, and my parents thought I was crazy. I mean, they never saw. Well, actually, no. I bought one of those like machines from China that spin the balls around and draw it out, and I did a live drawing on YouTube. And I told my parents, like, this is going to be the future one day, and from early. And so I remember, looking, I have videos now of the lottery that I used to have on YouTube. So people knew that the lottery was live. I would have like the camera, I would have a tablet next to the lottery machine with like timeanddate.com and blockchain.info loaded. And I would put the Bluetooth mouse, I'd refresh the page so they would see what the exact price of Bitcoin was at the time of recording and the time and date that it was. And the recording was live. And yeah, when going back and watching it, the price of Bitcoin was between anywhere between like 200 to sometimes during that year 540 or something, but kind of fluctuating back and forth. And then we had this shoot up to like 1,000 or something like that. And then I remember probably, I guess, I don't know if it was 2014 or 15, but I remember Mike Hearn, which was one of these early Bitcoin developers. He wrote this is one of the early Bitcoin obituaries, where Mike Hearn, one of the Bitcoin developers, wrote on his blog post saying, "Bitcoin's dead. It's a failed experiment. I just sold all my coins. You should too." And the market reacted and went down from like 1,000 to 180. And I literally dropped what I was doing, ran to my mom. And I was just like, Mom, now's the time. Like, you have to, like, I'm like, I know you got some cash. You have to buy into this. You have to buy into this. And she's like, oh yeah, okay, well, I'll try. And then she said she went on PayPal, on Coinbase, and tried to buy $25 worth, and it didn't work. So she just forgot about it. And I went to my dad and same thing. And I went to all my friends and same thing, and nobody bought anything. And over the course of years and years, I would still come to them. They got sick of me talking about it eventually. But I would still, every time like, hey, you should really get involved. You should really get involved. My mom finally bought in at $2,500 in 2017, I guess. My dad has a half a Bitcoin because I gave it to him for his birthday last year. And and that's it. And now they're all, now it's been vindicated. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at today. And I've done a bunch of stuff in the space, but most of the people who are watching this know my story. So
it's interesting you say that point, right? So I think so now is, all the people that I think we've spoken to over the say 5-6 year period collectively, right, between us, right? Now is like the time where really nobody can say anymore to you that, oh no, it's not going to work, and this thing is like going to fail in terms of, it's way beyond that now, right? The confidence level, even with people who don't know about Bitcoin, is so high now. And the optimistic outlook, you've got people like Guggenheim, doing fundamental analysis for $400,000 price range. You've got others at 160, 200K, which they see as fair value price. And then I look at myself and I think to myself, whoa, this has been a journey, and now, and I saw an interesting a post from Ari Paul on Twitter the other day, and he noted that up until now he always used to look at his portfolio in USD value, and he started to now look, actually, how many Bitcoins do I have? And I was thinking the other day as well, like over time, and I've always kind of looked at USD value, and a few of my friends have said this as well recently, is that now, what, where are, if you do make a lot of money doing different things within the crypto space, where would you put the money? And the question kind of comes back is, you put it back in Bitcoin now. So now it's about how many Bitcoins do I hold? If you look at the economy generally, if you look at fiat, the way it's being printed, I mean, you just think, okay, I think this is it. You just stay here now. You don't go out. Whereas previously it was like coming in, wealth creation, and then going back to the traditional system. But now it's just like, now I think I'm quite comfortable. I'm just gonna stay, and I'm just gonna ride it out. So and then the next stage is so, there's so much other exciting things happening. I mean, where we're gonna go, I guess.
Yeah, people ask me, and you see it on Twitter all the time, like, oh, bro, should I take profits or what are you gonna sell? I'm like, I'm never gonna sell. Never. Yeah. You'll never need to sell, because everybody will accept Bitcoin in the future. It is the currency that soon will be used by everybody. So if you want to go buy a new car, you just pay in Bitcoin. You don't need to convert back to that shitty cash system, and I think that's what people will soon understand. There's a really funny meme. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like Neo and Morpheus from the Matrix, and he's like, oh man, when should I sell my Bitcoin? And he goes, like, when you're ready, you won't have to, or something like that, and it's exactly right.
Yeah. So I think that's what it is. It becomes like a universal unit of account, and we just keep it kind of there as a store of value. Mike Saylor, same outlook. People ask him, are you going to sell? I mean, his portfolio's exploded, right? With the 40,000 odd Bitcoin, I think they hold, right? He's like, no, you don't buy Bitcoin to sell it. You buy it to hold it, and that's it. And then obviously, okay, everybody's circumstance is different. You need to sell a little bit off for whatever, but it's no longer a trade, I guess, if we can say, right? It's more an established, holding in everybody's kind of economic activity, and that really changes the shift, and it changes the mindset, right? Now when I'm telling people, I'm saying, look, so what are you doing? Keep a bit of your money just in Bitcoin. I'm not saying, okay, if you can't do all of it and you don't understand, just keep a bit of it, as you would buy gold, as you would buy stocks, as you would, just at least, if you don't want to come in and if you don't understand the whole thing and you can't get your head around it, just buy a little bit and just leave it there. Don't trade it, because when it doubles, you might be tempted. Oh, that little bit of money I put in is worth double now. Don't buy it like that. Just buy it and just keep it there, just in case, and maybe things will work out for you just from that portion of Bitcoin, right? When everything else starts to go to things. So I mean, we're really in an interesting juncture of financial changes in where we are with the Western economies, with the USD, with China, with everything, and with the rise of like just digital economies. all around the world. You know, where do we go from here, right? It's I think, and then with the whole, you know, pandemic now, it's kind of accelerated everything, right? Even faster, right? And I think people start to understand, especially in these past 6 months, year, that, oh, okay, this is how digital kind of currencies kind of work. And
let me ask you a fun question. How is your assets that you have in your life, like, how is that diversified? And what percentage do you have Bitcoin? Do you have fiats? You know, what's alts? What's
yeah.
ETH?
So the vast majority of my portfolio is in Bitcoin. I don't really like holding a lot of cash, although I have some, a little bit here and there, you know. But yeah, the vast majority of my, you could say, net worth is in Bitcoin. The next biggest position is ETH.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not asset rich in terms of, so I don't even have like multiple other assets. Like apart from actually, if you can count them as cars, I'm a bit of a car collector. So you know, I have a few on the side that I kind of hodl alongside my Bitcoin position.
Yeah.
But yeah, the largest portfolio is Bitcoin, and then it's ETH, and then that's it really, pretty much. I don't really even at the moment hold many other coins. I just kind of I have, you know, I bought some and then I've sold some, but you know, the thing is, Bitcoin still, and being involved in other projects and you know, and take, you know, like us, bought many altcoins and everything, but still today, it's as exciting to me as it was the first day I understood it. That's the fascinating thing. Like, I can wake up and still be really excited about Bitcoin and just be like, whoa, dude, it's like 37, it's 38. It's like, what's going on, you know? And then some company announced that they understand it. And then, you know, I've got friends in the UK now that want to kind of, you know, get into it and formulate more companies and, you know, build other projects around Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then, you know, move into other things. So, so yeah, definitely. And I think it probably stay like that for the foreseeable future, unless I want to buy something, which I think, you know, I need to sell some portion of my coins, but I don't think so. I think it'll just stay like that. Yeah. What about yourself? Is it similar, or?
It's impossible for me to value because I got into Bitcoin very early. I sold my company in 2013, bought Bitcoin with it, and I've been out of fiat since 2013. Like, I've only ever held as much fiat as I was willing to lose, you know?
Yeah.
So people always say, you know, it's the opposite for me. People are like, yeah, only invest in Bitcoin what you're prepared to lose. I say, like, only hold fiat what you're prepared to use, you know? In 2013, I was 50% sure that Bitcoin would become a world reserve currency. You know, I was like, yeah, it probably could, but I'm not really sure. Every year since then, it became maybe, I would say, like 10% more sure. But because in 2014, I started diversifying my Bitcoin appreciation into equity investments in the space. So I have a lot of investments in, you know, like Kraken and Coinbase and, you know, Abra, things like this. But as far as the liquid assets, I would say that it's about 70% in Bitcoin, 20% in Ethereum, and 10% in alts. I made a video on Polkadot like 3 months ago about how bullish I was on it when it was like $4.30. And it's been on my, it's really hard for me to sell my Bitcoin to buy anything else, even something like Polkadot, which I'm super bullish on. You know, I think in this bull run, something like Polkadot can easily do from here. It's like a $9 million market cap right now, getting close to 10. I think it's easy to assume that, you know, Polkadot could go up to, you know, 180 billion, 250 billion or more market cap in this bull market. So there's a lot more potential for multiples versus Bitcoin or something. But you just know that, like, once you sell Bitcoin, it's going to be impossible to ever buy back what you once had, you know? So you have to really treasure those things, man. I used to have a lot of Bitcoin. You know, and because I didn't want to stop building in the bear market, I spent those Bitcoins sometimes at $3,000, and it was painful every time I did, but I was building, you know, I was building stuff that I've been building. And yeah, I used to have a lot of Bitcoin, and so now it's like wealth preservation. You know, you want to treasure those things.
Exactly. So now this is the psyche shift, right? It's from looking at, you know, not that even though it's exciting that Bitcoin's at 38K, it's at the same time looking how many coins do you have, right? That's the and that's what this is similar in that sense. You know, I don't want to sell my Bitcoin to then buy, you know, some other coin which might multiply more, but it's at the risk of just I'd rather just leave it there now and be happy. And in fact, if I can generate enough income from other things, I would happily still buy more, even at 30K, at 40K. Might seem a bit, wild that my first Bitcoin or your first Bitcoin we bought when they were, in the hundreds, right? Rather than in the thousands. But because if you're happy to put your wealth there and you believe in that, then, and once you've kind of, worked through, as you mature up, I guess you've done all your silly spends in life and, you settle down, you just keep stacking your sats. And that's what's one thing that everybody universally understands in the crypto space, right? Is just having Bitcoin, and nobody can really kind of negate that. And it's brilliant because it's just, it's a beast of his own, there's no person promoting it. There's no CEO, there's nothing. It just works and it just functions. Every day you wake up and it's just there. And so that's a thing of, you have to appreciate, I think, and you have to respect that. And that's what's kind of, I guess, giving it the new phase of adoption.
Yeah. For someone like you and me, we I mean, people would call us lucky. Like I just think that I was, I was smart early on and saw an opportunity and realized it, But for people who are getting in now, one of the strategies is for them, because much more likely if you play your cards right, to be able to do something like, 10x your investment in a matter of a month or two, if you play your right cards on an alt, and then you can take some profits and stack your sats that way. It's really hard to try to stack sats if you're just saving your dollars from your hourly job. It's a different bull run than 2017, because we just see Bitcoin just keep kicking ass day after day, and Bitcoin dominance is still very strong. But I feel like I think I called it on Twitter. I think it was about like 10 days ago. I said, I'm going to go ahead and call it that alt season is here. And I feel like this last week, we've really seen that. And the timing seems to be really interesting for both you and I. I know that you're working on something. I'm building Paid Network. And I know for me personally, when I started building Paid Network, I didn't think, oh, this is going to be perfect for alt season. I had no idea, but like we're about to launch and it's like alt season. This is like amazing timing. Like, I'm not sure about you, but I didn't expect it.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's kind of just worked out. Really, the timing can't be okay. So you can't time it better right than this. Like, because you get the Bitcoin run, and then you see Ethereum now is kind of ready to kind of break its previous high, make a new all-time high, and you know what's going to happen once that happens? It's going to kind of follow what Bitcoin did, and then, like you said, also just going to absolutely explode. And we've both got projects going on at the same time. So I'm building YOP, and it's a DeFi project, and our TG is next Friday, on the 15th. Some of these things you can't plan them, right? You just have to go with it. And we're building something for, with a 3-4 year outlook in terms of how we go to market and we slowly build to where we ultimately want to be. But your launch is definitely, a big important milestone of how that goes, right? And what part of the market you catch. So yeah, it really couldn't be better, and I'm really looking forward to, seeing our projects both kind of launch successfully. And also I think it's great timing to be aligned with, where Ethereum is right now, and like you said, where Polkadot is and where that ecosystem is. And this is really something interesting about Polkadot that I see is it's the first network to come after Ethereum, which is not a direct challenger, but more of a supporting role. But, whether it becomes bigger or not is a different story, right? Everybody else that came along was like, yeah, we're going to build a better Ethereum, right? And the thing that they missed out on, they collected billions of dollars. That's not a problem, right? They raised all this capital and multiple projects did it. But the thing they missed out on is they never built the kind of the ecosystem and the developer community and that base that Ethereum has. And I think with Polkadot closely aligning themselves with the bridges and the parachains, it can really be powerful together. So you get Ethereum 2, you get the docking into kind of what I call mothership docking for Ethereum 2.0, and then Polkadot working side by side. The two together can just kind of dominate the top end of the market, and so much opportunity there.
I'm about to make a video, probably early next week, where I think is one of the most important things that will allow Polkadot to be successful. It's these projects Moonbeam, Plasm, and Peristate, who are allowing all of us who are building in an Ethereum environment to Solidity to easily port into Polkadot and alleviate all the stress that we would hope Ethereum 2.0 would do, because that's not going to be here for a while. So
Yeah.
I think that people are severely, probably a lot of people probably haven't heard of Plasm, Moonbeam, or Peristate unless you're building like we are in Ethereum, and you're building Solidity contracts, right?
Yeah. So we're so the cool thing about, and we was doing this in our design work, and it just how it came out. Ethereum's kind of blue, right? And Polkadot's pink, and YOP is purple. So the mix of those two colors, it just organically brings around purple. But yeah, Moonbeam is, I mean, I'm super like interested on the tech. I reached out to them way at the beginning when it was just like there was nobody there, and I've been kind of like following and working on what we can do there. But yeah, our project is, YOP is more, and it's something that I think has come organically from being in the space and having that little bit of frustration that, there's a lot of development, a lot of infrastructure has improved, definitely, but there's an area missing that I think, being in the space for this much time and having the network in the space, we can probably give some kind of value back, right? And kind of raise the level of quality in some areas of product. So it's really, for us, it's just to improve the customer experience, and at the same time just build something which is kind of here for the new people to come into crypto, make it easier for them, and likewise people who are existing in the space, and kind of mix it a bit more than just developer sides, right? Because a lot of the stuff still today gets done is developer focused only, and it's quite complicated to use, and it stays on that side. So
yeah, for sure.
I'm really keen to build something and put something out there with the community. And we work around yield is the kind of main thing, but this is the other. I see yield as everything. I see, even if you're holding just one DOT token or one Ethereum token, and it appreciates, that's your base level yield, right? And then you can do farming, and you could do all sorts of different APY chasing and everything like that. But yeah, just the whole process I think should be simplified, but at the same time it should always remain non-custodial. It should stay true to the kind of crypto essence, and just try to improve the customer experience as much as we can. So yeah, I think this is going to be really exciting launching in this phase, and then what happens in the next 6 months? Where do we go? What happens? I mean, I guess the market's just going to,
Yeah, boom. I heard that's tell me about the story. What happened? Like there's either the London Stock Exchange or somebody from London Stock Exchange invested in YOP. Like tell me what happened there.
Yeah, so I started YOP off like in the summer. I started kind of researching these things, and I was like, looking around, what's improved in the space, and it's still kind of the same level, right? And that's what kind of was the driving factor to build it. But I didn't really expect to have a big launch. I thought I'd probably like raise a bit of capital and then just come along and launch, and then steadily build up from that. But one of my friends reached out to me, and he knew I was working on the project, and he said, oh, by the way, there's this company on the London Stock Exchange, publicly listed investment vehicle, that's interested in getting involved, and I've shared the information about YOP, and they think it's really, really good. And I was like, whoa, okay, because that was quite it's an acknowledgement at early stage, right? When you're kind of raising funds, and this is like a traditional type of VC where we went through a 7-8 week process of due diligence and back and forth paperwork, not really like what the crypto space is more like. Oh, I like your project, send me your ETH address, boom. It's kind of in. So, and then once we announced that in December to publicly, everybody, it just blew up, and it just went crazy. And then kind of it was oversubscribed like 4x 5x, and it becomes really difficult because you have to make decisions like this guy, he wants to get in and he wants to get in, and so then you just have to really align the project with who's kind of the best long-term partners or investors, and think best for the kind of project at that time rather than the funding, because the funding's available, right? This space has definitely got a lot of liquidity and a huge appetite to invest in new startups, right? Like YOP and what you're doing with Paid Network. So it's not really, I think, the issue of raising the capital, but it's about who you get the capital from. and how you navigate through that. So I think we've got a great mix now. We have, a PLC, on the London Stock Exchange, and then we have, some crypto experts and, like a nice blend, I think, which will balance us to move us forward. But yeah, and then like the kind of icing on the cake has been launching on the Polkastarter platform, which is super hot right now. And that's just gonna giving it the extra fireworks, and our communities, I think, is hitting like 8,000, 9,000 now, and is growing. Lots of positive feedback and lots of people reaching out. Some of the investors that actually we reached out to initially coming back and saying, oh, sorry, I actually regret not coming in at that time. Can I get in now? I was like, okay, sorry, it's too late now. But yeah, it's really exciting, but it's a challenge sometimes as well, because you get just this flood of inquiries, and you don't know who really to go with, and so you have to align yourself with the right, I think, advisors, and kind of circle that navigates you through not taking the wrong money, I guess, because there's a lot of money in the crypto spaces which is just interested in kind of like quick list of project, get the 10x, move on to the next one, rather than actually building value. They can't see past that. So same for you, I guess, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure about you, but we got approached by a lot of, I guess you could call them I guess you could call them tier 2 exchanges, and a lot of the Chinese ones, and they come to you like they want to be friends, and and they're so stoked because they love your project and they want to invest in you and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But then they come in and ask for a huge allocation of your public sale so they can have a bunch of unlocked tokens, and that they don't give a shit about your project. They don't care at all.
Nothing.
And I'm like, why do you want to hear what I've got what I'm building? Because you don't care. You want my tokens because they're going to pump in the beginning, and you're going to be the first one to dump on everybody. I'm not selling you anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's another thing I think is really, and this is one thing we decided to do. I was adamant that, and loads of people kept saying this to me throughout the token sale. Why don't you like increase your round? But we've been at 5 cents from the London Stock Exchange guys. They got 5 cents, and the guy who just invested like $500 or $1,000, he got 5 cents.
That's
Everybody
awesome.
got 5 cents.
It's
about, because I think it's nice to just have a fair distribution, and then at the same time, nobody got like a huge allocation where they're like holding 50% of your early tokens. And like you said, right, these exchanges and all these kind of semi-friendly people come along, they're not interested in the project, because once you start talking about the real what you're building, the conversation goes on. They're not really that interested anymore. They just want to get to the token page and what your token price is, they're interested in, and how many tokens they can get. That's the only two things they're asking. They're not asking like, what are you actually building? Are you using Java? Are you using, are you building an iOS first? What are you doing? Nothing. It's just about how many tokens and the price. So we was adamant, fair distribution as possible as we can make it. Well, there's always going to be some people who are not happy, and avoiding that, one individual, 2 or 3 big like people holding massive chunk of your tokens, and they could just dump on, all your kind of community. Because I mean, it's not fair, right? Because the crypto is a global market, and it's made up of super wealthy individuals who are holding large amounts of cash reserves and Bitcoin or Ether reserves. And then there's the little guy as well. But you got to kind of really try to treat them the same, I guess, and give them the same respect, because they're all interested in your project.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of genuinely interested, hopefully, and want to contribute. So yeah, it's important to keep that thing fair.
Do you have for your early investors, are there any like locks or vesting periods, or is it all unlocked initially?
No, so because we decided to like kind of give everybody a fair portion. The only people that have a lock was the London Stock Exchange investment company, because those guys, they had a larger portion. They usually invest like a couple of million here and there.
They're used to a year at least of anything or whatever.
Yeah. So they were happy. They were like, yeah, no problem, And the thing is, if they're going to stay with us long term, then that makes sense, right? Rather than them saying, no, we need all our tokens at once. But the thing I don't like about the normal token locks is it just creates kind of sell pressure every every 3 weeks. There's a bunch of tokens coming, and those guys are just gonna, they're gonna just go to the market and just put them on there.
I totally absolutely agree with you. Even though our structure isn't that way, we want more traditional, but it wasn't because I think that our way is better. It's because I didn't think to do it in the way that you're doing it. And with like, if I could do it again, I would do it exactly like you're doing it. I think that that is absolutely the best way to do it. Um, because it's just, yeah, because anyone who wants to sell in the beginning sells. And then after that, it's,
That's it.
you remove the constant sell pressure.
Yeah.
We played around with a lot of ideas. We played around with like linear daily unlocks to remove those chunk of dumps that come. But hopefully, in 2017 and stuff like that, you didn't see when private investors got their tokens unlocked, you didn't see dumps because that would be retarded to dump because everything was pumping so hard. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we don't, that, in for the last, the last 6 months to a year. I mean, before 6 months ago, nothing was doing well anyway. So it didn't matter. But the last 6 months, things have been doing pretty decent on launching, but we have seen that respond, like the projects that launched, that raised money when the market was hot in July and August. Now we're seeing, because things had slowed down for a while, it was really affected when the tokens unlocked. I'm hoping that moving forward, for everybody's sake, that those unlocks don't create tremendous sell pressure, because the
Yeah.
mentality is different right now. It's the same. It would, yeah, you're gonna sell your token when it's gonna pump 30% the next day. That's not a good idea.
That's true. The market will, I mean, in this kind of market, and like you said, we're kind of fortunate to be in the right timing curve of a launch phase, especially like we're making new highs in Ethereum, and alt season is kind of really gearing up to explode. So generally, the market can probably soak up a lot more sell pressure, but so that's a positive, and it's there. Also from the team side, right? We kind of like, we're happy to just leave our tokens locked. I don't personally have a desire or even a requirement to kind of quickly start selling them, even if wherever the does, right? It does a 20, 30, 50x, whatever. I'm not here to quickly sell my tokens and make a few bucks and run off to the next thing. I want to build some value. And also, like you said, this space is exciting. What else am I going to do? I'm here because I can do 12 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours. Sometimes I get messages like, dude, what time do you sleep?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm online in like variations of hours. But it's because it's nice. I enjoy it. I'm passionate about it. I'm not doing it because, oh, you know what, I got to launch YOP now. Oh, it's a frustration, oh, I have to deal with all these guys. I'm like, getting in there in the community. I love it. People are there, and I love the fact how community members become like really entrenched into your project, and they become like really big supporters.
Making
And so
meetings for you and answer.
they're hyping, they're cheering you on so much that I kind of get FOMO myself for my own project. I'm like, this is really good. So it's, that's the best element of it, that it's community and it's global and it's 24/7. You can wake up anytime and just start talking to somebody about crypto and say, well, what's happening with the Bitcoin price? What's happening with the ETH price? So it's a beauty.
What I noticed, for myself personally, when you just get started and you're asking for help, you're trying to raise some money, you're kind of bootstrapped. And initially, if somebody wants to build a website for you, and you can pay them in tokens later, you're super happy to do that. You're like, oh yeah, you're $5,000, I'll pay in tokens at TGE. Now that you realize how valuable your token is, you're like, I will gladly pay you USD instead of my token.
Exactly same thing, exactly same. I've had like people say that, no, I actually want your token, and I'm like, no, I actually want to pay USD because I'm just looking at it. No, I'd rather just keep them, for the project. It's funny how that whole spins around, right? That's value creation, right? It goes from like being something that you're trying to promote and get people to buy into to something that is super valuable and you're holding back, right? And it's like, now everybody's asking, can I have allocation? No, sorry, you can't. You have to just wait now. You have to just get it on Uniswap on Friday. So it's interesting how that switches and it changes about.
Yeah, because like someone was trying to offer something for advisory, and we don't, and I didn't really see the value in it anyway. But just in the scope of the negotiation, it was a pretty high amount, and I felt like he was asking for something you would ask for in 2017 when a project's raising $20 million. Someone asking for $100,000 for advisory for doing an introduction basically is ridiculous. But I was like, man, and try not to insult or hurt feelings and be, you know, I was like, yeah, you know, man, we only raised $2 million. So if you're asking for 100,000, that's a good chunk of our entire raise. Like, I can't do that. He's like, oh yeah, but you can pay me in tokens. I'm like, dude, you know, and then you're just doing your math. You're like, that's like, you know, that's like probably like that's like probably like $1 million you're asking for now, you know, like,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it's like, I'm not gonna pay you my tokens. That like, that's now you're just increasing your ask, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is something in the space which is there, right? There's a lot of this, just, you know, huge amounts of money flying around and people just paying like crazy things. Same thing. We only raised 500K, right? And for me, I'm like, I have to make that 500K go long way. You know, I'm spending it like every $500 somebody asks me for. I'm like, whoa, what's that for? You know, because, you know, one, we've got small cap, and one, I just, you know, there is a bit of that free kind of spending in crypto space because there's so much money around it. Just, yeah, no, throw around a bit of tokens here, you know, give them another 1,000 YOP tokens, no problem. I think, yeah, we have to try to change that a little bit and just be a bit more sensible. And like you said, you get these wild, you know, offers for whoa, you know what, you want 250K for what?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, really? I mean, even if I had the money, maybe I wouldn't even, you know, consider that. So it's interesting. And let's see where it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a really good discussion. I think we've kind of you know, got around a fair amount, but yeah, let's see where it goes. And I think you know, good luck definitely to you guys as well, and see how hopefully it goes, successful launch for you guys, and see where we are. We can maybe probably do a follow-up later on.
You're doing your Polkastarter when?
So Polkastarter is Friday, the 15th of January, 2 p.m. UTC, and then Uniswap at 4 p.m. UTC on the same day. And then after that, so that's it.
We did our Polkastarter announcement like 2 days ago or a day and a half ago, and it's insane.
Yeah.
Like what happened. We're doing our IDO on the 20th, so 5 days after you.
Nice.
And yeah, it's exciting, man. I'll be cheering you guys.
It's a platform to be on, so, you know,
Yeah.
I think it's really exciting.
Yeah, I'll be cheering you guys on. It was good having you on, and I don't know, we've been on for like 45 minutes. I'm sure the price of Bitcoin's at like 40K right now or something. So
it'll be 45K for the 45 minutes we're on, but yeah, it's been great. Thanks for having me, and look forward to kind of cheering you guys on as well, and just, you know, and you know, founders kind of supporting their projects the best they can, and doing the best job we can, and take it from there.
Sounds good. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Take care, man. Cheers.
Bye.